All right, so it's that time of year again where it's not too hot to camp, so we were going camping. And we decided maybe we would do a video together about how to camp, or glamp, or whatever you want to call it. So we'll start with step one is bring everything you own. That way you can't possibly have forgotten anything.
And someone to set it all up.
Step two is take everything out of the car and organize it so that you can put it together. We actually loaded the car so that in case it was raining when we got here, we could immediately get out the tent, get out a pop-up, and have some kind of shelter to hide under immediately. And you know, our clothes and stuff would be the last things to come out. But it's a beautiful day out, nice and sunny. So we're gonna take everything out and scatter it all over the ground. That way the rain will come. I'm gonna go ahead and make this step three. We have tried camping with coolers and ice. We tried camping with one of those Coleman plug-in coolers. That thing only lowers the temperature by about like 20-30 degrees. So if it's 90 out, your food is like 60. Not ideal for milk or mayonnaise-based products.
Yeah.
So nothing seems to work better than just having a mini fridge. It's light, it's portable, it works great. We are going to get it plugged in and cooling off. It's not going to stay here. This is just a temporary thing. So this plug isn't going to fit in there, but that adapter will. So here, hon, you take it. We'll plug it into an adapter. Get it plugged into this thing.
Oops, upside down. Into the flux capacitor?
Yes.
Okay.
Is the breaker on?
It is.
Okay. Ooh, I hear it running.
We got 30 amp servo.
We'll get that getting cold while we set up everything else. I lost count. Are we on step 3?
4? I don't know.
Anyway, pick a spot on the high ground because you don't want to find out that when it rains, you're on the low ground and the water runs into your tent. Do you think it can hear me? So I'm doing the math here. This is in the shade, which is good. We got room to park the car back there. And my guess is that if it rained, the rain will run down this and run down this. But then after it comes down here, it's going to split left and right. So I think this is a good place for us to put our tent. So here's a tip for you, of one of many. If you can get your hands on one of these canvas mail bags, they get rid of them when they're like surplus. And they're nice and tough, they're light, they're strong, they cinch up, and then they lock down. You can even put a padlock on the thing, which isn't necessary, but this is what I keep the tent in, and I think it was a great idea. We separated out our components. We have a ground tarp, we have the tent, we have the fly, and over there is like our redundant safety tarp that goes over the roof, because we had a branch come down in a storm one time and pop a hole in our roof. I think it's fixed. Better safe than sorry. So we always use a ground tarp. There's a lot of debate about it. It keeps moisture from percolating up through the floor of my tent, and no one's going to tell me different. It's just proven itself to work for me, and I swear by it. So that's the way I lean. First thing we're going to do is put down the ground tarp in such a way that it makes sense with our tent. Alright, so if you pick a ground tarp that matches the footprint of your tent, putting down the ground tarp lets you know where your tent's going to be and how much room it's going to take up. But there's some additional concerns, like the guy wires that tension the tent. You need to have room to put them down. You don't want to run into tree stumps. You don't want to run into trees. You don't want to have to go in poison ivy to put them down. So we started out back there. We saw that that was going to be bad placement. as far as the ropes go, so we moved it forward a little bit. And I think this is the ideal place to put our tent. We have a certain setup that we like to go with that I'm going to show you. It's all going to make sense. So if we get caught in the rain, the front porch faces our instant up, pop-up canopy, which acts as our kitchen. We can still get in and out of the tent and prepare our meals without getting rained on in a thunderstorm. So ground tarp is down. Next step is we stretch up the tent, start setting that up. Okay, we have the tent laid out now, and we have the front facing what we want to be the front. Ours has a porch, but obviously every tent has a door or something that makes it the front. So we figured out how we want it and how we want to come in and out of it, what best suits us. And this is what we came up with, and now we'll start getting out the structure and the stakes and setting it up. So here's a tip for you. When I put this tent together for the first time, I got out a paint marker and I labeled where everything goes in a way that made sense to me. This is a corner. The corners are all interchangeable on this particular tent. This rod goes from corner to corner, so I wrote corner on it. This is a rod that holds up the porch when the porch goes together. You can use whatever wording you want to use. You can give it a number or a letter assignment and give yourself a little instruction book that says pole A goes here, whatever works out for you. But put it together, label it. Even if the parts are interchangeable, I still label them as specific parts because I knew the tent worked with this in the corner and that in the center. So it doesn't really matter if they're interchangeable. You can just label it front right, rear, and you know the tent will go back together because you have it put together. It's got to work, right? So there's a tip for you. Label your parts, and next time you go to put it together, it's going to go so much faster. Okay, the next piece of advice, the best advice I can give you is find somebody to put the tent together with who you can do projects with without wanting to kill each other. Much like backing the camper into a spot, this is the part where relationships are made or broken. So find someone you can work well with, or at least someone who's very forgiving after you say a bunch of things that you didn't really mean, but you were angry when you said them.
He's very forgiving. Yes.
I gotta be.
Okay, insert Benny Hill sequence now.
So you probably couldn't see in the hyperlapse, but I had my lovely assistant outside the tent with her shoes on doing things, and I kicked my shoes off and walked all over the tent helping to guide the poles through without getting caught or ripping on anything. We got it lined up on the ground tarp, and now we're gonna have to stake it down and tie it down. You might choose to put the fly on before you put the poles in, just when you have the roof, pull the fly over it and then lift it. But we're both tall and there's strings on the fly, so we always forget to do that and then drag it over the top. So that's just the way we do it now. So this tent has a porch, which I love. Gives us a place to kick our shoes on and off. It's also another level of protection to keep bugs out. And if you technically don't stake it down, the whole thing will fold up against the tent, and you can tie it back and not have a porch. But we never don't want to have a porch, so I staked it down. We squared everything up. Just so you know, you drive your stakes in on an angle so that if you put it in the way the tent is pulling, the tent can pull it out of the ground. We use these because they do well with hard gravelly soil, and they're cheap. You get them at Walmart for
$1.
$1 a piece. But put them in on an angle so that it's hard for the tent to pull it out of the ground. The rest of these are going to be for the ropes. I'll show you that later. Another quick tip, if you have a model like this, there are loops to stake it down. We pick which side we like better. I don't stake it down. That way I can open this fully. It's easier to get in and out than trying to squeeze in and out of here. So, you know, play it by ear. Sometimes you don't have to follow the manual. Sometimes it just makes more sense to do it your way. But we find this works best for us. I also put this rope on here, so in the middle of the night, when you're trying to get outside without peeing yourself, it's easy to just grab this and get the zipper up and down real quick. Okay, are you ready for the grand tour of Casa de Jimmy B? Here we go.
And Erica V.
Future Mrs. B.
Mm.
So here's the porch. This gives us a place to stick some gear out of the rain. Like I said, it's an extra layer of protection without the bugs. Come on in, my lovely assistant. Let's zip this before the bugs get in. We have 2 doors to choose from. We fancy like that. This tent is actually designed to be like a mother-daughter, 2-family, if you will. I just like being able to stand up. If we get caught in the rain, I don't want to be hunched over in a microscopic tent the whole time. So go big or go home, right? So here's the door. Okay, come on in. This tent is Ozark Trail. It's really cheap Walmart. Yeah, they haven't been around in how long? This is a cheap Walmart tent. A lot of camping aficionados will poo-poo a cheap tent. We've had this thing for 6-7 years.
Yeah, I would say 5-6 years.
And other than the tree falling on it and putting a little hole in the roof, you can see right there's a little hole in the screen.
I can't even see.
And a matching hole in the fly. It goes up, it comes down, it doesn't leak. It does everything we need it to do. It serves all our purposes. I did not unzip any of this stuff while setting up the tent because it holds the tent true and square. And if you unzip this stuff and you pull the tent funny and oblong, when you go to zipper it later, it won't zip. So there's another little tip for you. Make sure you leave everything zippered. Here's the dividing wall, which you can tie back out of the way and make into now one giant room, which is of course what we are going to do. And you can see it's a pretty massive tent when you have it all opened up. Do the toggle here. I think I do this wrong every time, and then I have to redo it. And we'll get some fresh air in here, because Lord knows there's not tons of fresh air coming through this wide open roof. This is not what I would consider a cold weather camping tent. I wish we could leave the roof off and sleep under the stars, but you know, sure as hellfire it will rain if you do that. So I'm not going to tempt fate. But we're going to put the fly on next. Then we're going to put our redundancy tarp over the top of the fly. And then we are going to we're going to style this place out. We're going to make it very comfortable, very she. I'm sure some people will have a lot to say about this. We don't do a TV and crazy stuff. I'll be honest with you, I would probably do an air conditioner if it was hot out. But we try and go in fall, maybe spring, so we don't need air conditioning. I do bring a fan. I know, that's not real camping. I do like a place with warm water and plumbing. I know, not real camping. So I didn't poop on a log. Come on, give me a break. We got electric to charge our cell phones, although we try to not touch them while we're out here. And we just like being out here with nature, and if need be, we still have access for emergency stuff with our families or what have you. Continuing the tour, we got these handy dandy storage pockets. Here's a little tip for you. fabric softener sheets. Keeps the mice from chewing on my tent while it's put away in the attic. It's also supposed to repel insects. This tent has a really cool feature. There's a little flap here for you to put an extension cord through so it keeps the bugs out. So that's nice. More storage over here. And lots of room for activities. Here's another tip for you for camping for power. A lot of the campsites have plugs for campers, and you can get a little adapter to adapt it for your extension cord needs. However, if you take the cord off of an old junked camper and you wire up some outlets on the other end of it, you have an extension cord that'll carry 30 amps and plugs right into the box. So I use this for work too. I actually adapt this to a regular plug and use this for running my power tools. So it's a little beat up, but it definitely gets the job done. So by all means, if you can get your hands on a cord from an old dilapidated camper that's going to the wrecker, get it and make yourself something out of it. Okay, so I want to drive home once again the importance of instant shelter. We got here one day. As soon as we got here, it was a downpour, torrential rain. We set up this canopy in 5 minutes. We had someplace to hide from the storm, and I was able to start assembling the tent underneath of it. And then the rain went away and we were good to go. So I really can't stress the importance of a good quality pop-up shelter.
This is actually just an instant canopy that I got from Sam's Club with my reward points, so I paid $0 for it, and I have loved it from the day that we purchased it or picked it up, because it's so simple to use. Obviously it's easier with 2 people, but I put it together myself multiple times with children running around, and it's really so simple. In fact, we are not going to do a hyperlapse. We're just going to do real time because it is so easy to pop up. And so here goes.
Showcase that.
Oh, P.S. I've also cheated and left the canopy on top, so I'm not putting that on and off every time. But guess what? It folds up and fits in the bag, so. I think we have to do the top.
You have to what?
You have to push the light up there. Ready?
Yeah. Hold on. Okay. All right, you want to lower these legs first?
Yep. What are you going to be on? The first?
I guess the highest click so I'm not hitting my head.
Is that the third one? The 3?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yep, I'll fix that. Okay. Now let's bring it just so it's just over the top of the porch. walls? Okay. This one looks high on. There we go.
Good?
Yep.
That's it. That's all it takes.
And it's got these strings, so if it's windy or breezy out, you can lash it down to the ground with some tent stakes or put weights on the feet.
And obviously it helps to have two tall people put this together, but you could have waited to put the legs all the way down to move it, you know, with our hands overhead, until you know, before you had released the legs. Just would be easier to maneuver, but we are not vertically challenged, so we just do stuff like that.
So here's the basic setup. We got extra tarps. You always need those. Got myself an axe and a machete for splitting firewood or chasing off critters. You never know what's gonna pop out of the woods and attack you. We got these bins that are weather tight, and we have them labeled for what's in them. Mini fridge, coffee maker, camping necessities, kitchen tote, recycling bin. These just spring up. They take up no space, and then they give you a garbage can and a recycling bin. I throw a rock in before I put the garbage bag in so they don't blow away. We do have a Coleman gas stove, but she has insisted that we switch to this electric one. It's easier to clean up than that Coleman is. And it works pretty good, provided you have electricity. And then there's this wall that we have for our canopy with the shelves on it. So that comes in handy for blocking the wind, blocking the sun, and giving you a little bit extra storage. We're supposed to put paper towels on there, but it's been damp and rainy out, so we're not putting them there. And this is basically where we eat and cook and how we set up everything. We put lights up just to be fun. These aren't super bright, but they're cute. And they give you a little something so you don't stub your toe. Then we got this rope light overhead. That helps us see to cook and do things at night. It don't look very bright now, but that's because it can't compete with sunshine. And then we'll do some Christmas lights or something just for fun.
Okay, so the outside of the tent, that's Jim's world. The inside of the tent, that's Mama's world. Okay? So I'm gonna set this up the way we like it. So that's it. Put down indoor-outdoor carpet so that the gravel doesn't hurt your feet so much through the tent. We inflated 2 separate mattresses. That way when I'm moving around, you don't feel it. When he's moving around, I don't feel it. But because you have two mattresses, that kind of leads to other issues, because then you start separating in the middle of the night. So Jim came up with putting a ratchet strap around both of them, bringing them back together. Then I take just a fitted sheet, put that down. Actually before that, a moving blanket. I read on, I don't know where it was, Pinterest or something, that putting the moving blanket down first was actually supposed to help keep your heat in, because you got this giant air pocket underneath you. It seems to help. I bought it, so I'm going to keep using it. Anyhow, so moving blanket, fitted sheet. Then I got these extra big sleeping bags from Dick's, and they actually will zip together and make one giant sleeping bag. So we are not in our own sleeping bag, we have access to each other.
Combined body heat.
Right. That way I am as close as I can possibly be to my personal furnace in the middle of the night when it gets really chilly. And then just two little folding side tables so we can put a little lantern, you put your phone, a drink for the middle of the night, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so one of my favorite creature features, or what's the word?
Creature comforts.
Creature comforts, there you go, thank you. One of my favorite creature comforts is my heating pad. It gets pretty chilly at night, and I don't know if I have just poor blood circulation or what, but my feet get so cold, and I buy the thickest, warmest, coziest socks, and they still get cold. So I bought this. And what is fantastic about this is there's actually a little pocket for you to stick your feet in. Watch. So you just turn it on. It goes to, I don't know, 11, and it just keeps my toes so nice and toasty while I'm sleeping at night, and it just warms my whole body up.
We're camping. I know maybe we call it glamping, but I don't know why you need ridiculous, unnecessary electrical devices in the tent.
Really?
Another camping tip is to come a day early, set up your tent and all your other crap, and then go out to eat. No cooking in the dark for us, suckers. Do yourself a favor when you get to the campsite and it's still daylight, after you've set up shelter obviously. Find yourself some good sized rocks. Take a look at your fire pit. You're going to want to prop the fire pit up on some rocks to get some airflow underneath the ring to your fire. Otherwise it's just going to smolder all night. If you can bring some rocks with you, or a few pieces of steel, if you're going to a campsite that isn't known for its rocks, then do that. But we're in Pennsylvania, so there's rocks. So another tip is, as you're going about your day, take any paper, cardboard, boxes, plates, napkins, anything that's flammable, and just start accumulating it in your fire pit. As you come across little sticks and pieces of bark, throw them in there, and by the time it's nighttime and you're ready to light your fire, you got a big kindling bed. I lit that. I split some wood into small logs and made a teepee. Then I put some full-size logs in the teepee. I lit it from multiple points, and it's blazing. That air getting underneath is helping, and it makes lighting a fire a lot easier. And you know, it's a little bit of effort here and there throughout the day. It's a bit of a pain running back and forth here every time you see a twig, but it pays off when it's starting to get dark and your fire lights really quick and easy. Here's another camping tip. If you have to ask, is that enough kindling? It's not enough. If it's too much kindling, your fire will definitely light. So the more the merrier. Everyone loves the camping delicacy rotisserie bun. Rotisserie bun.
Not just for breakfast.
Well, one good thing about camping in the freezing cold and the rain, I've hardly seen any bugs. See any bugs? No bugs.
No bugs.
They're probably frozen.
They're smarter than us.
That must be it. You can get by without them, but set-it tongs are really, really helpful for taking care of the fire. I made my own. I don't know where you can even buy them for a decent price, but message me. Maybe I'll start mass producing these and selling them. I should have did this when there was actually something to do, but
Ta-da! Really?
okay.
Stupid.
Yes.